right, so welcome everyone. Thank you, lunch crowd, for joining us. We know that you are serious about what you came here to learn about, because you actually are forfeiting lunch, right?
No, we can eat after.
You can eat after? Okay, all right. So thank you all for joining us, really. So just based on the title, using your experience to empower the next generation. That's what we're here to talk about. We're here with, I have an all-star panel here, and I'm so grateful to them. I have Hank Preston, our principal engineer, who has been just supporting Cisco Networking Academy for many, many years. We have Rick Graziani. Graziani, got to say his name twice, because he's that awesome, right? But he is a long-time Cisco Networking Academy instructor, Cisco Press author. So if you read any IPv6 books, that's your guy.
Yeah.
And then anything CERT-related, we have Patrick Gargano here, who is our content lead content advocate, who has also been with Cisco Networking Academy for 20+ years, but also doing all of your content development as well for all your certifications. So if you don't like it, it's him, right? And my name is Talithia Willis. I am a program manager with the Cisco Networking Academy, former NetiCAD instructor who complained a little bit about those certification exams and ended up being tasked with making them better, and I did. But we're here to talk about how you can actually teach and inspire students. Now, there's going to be some questions, and we have our, if you join the WebEx app, we actually have a team moderating right now to answer any questions that you have about what this is and what you can do next. But when you think about it, think about when you first took your certification exam. I know it was the sheer terror of it, but no, there was joy. I saw the smile. There was joy. There was joy, but think about how you got there. How did you actually, who helped you to get there? There was somebody that had to teach you. There was that mentor that taught you subnetting probably for the 15th time, right, until you got it down. There was that professor that made packets going through the network or going through spanning tree real for you. Or there was somebody, or maybe it was a study guide, Network Chuck, I don't know, whatever it is, no judgment. But here's the thing. Somebody invested in you. Somebody took the time to make it real for you, to make networking beautiful, right? Whether it's cybersecurity, AI, to get you where you are today. And so that's what we're hoping you do. We hope you want to inspire, motivate, empower somebody so that you can actually retire, right? But here's the thing. How many people have heard of Cisco Networking Academy? Oh, I love it. It is not Cisco U. It is not just an online platform, right? So I love the fact that so many of you said that. I've heard a lot of people say that they've heard of it, but they really don't know what it is, right? So Cisco Networking Academy was formed 27 years ago, and it is the way Cisco is giving back to the community and making sure we're bridging the digital divide and bringing on board people that next generation of technology leaders to be right where you are. And it actually started out, and I'm just trying to be really quick about this. You know, these guys have been around for a long time, but there was one engineer, George Ward. And what George Ward did, he volunteered at a school. And that school had technology needs, but they didn't have the expertise or the resources to really maintain their network. So what did he do? Just what you would have done. He taught the students, right? He taught the students how to install, maintain, and troubleshoot that network. And from that one passion, that one person, that one engineer taking that moment to invest, sparked a global movement, right? It sparked a global movement. And you can see, just the investment there, hands-on curriculum. And so, as I said, it's been 27 years. And with that 27 years, there's been 27 million students that have gone through a Cisco Networking Academy course. And I heard so many engineers here, CCIEs, who have said, I got my start in a NetiCAD, in a Cisco Networking Academy. Right now, we have 4.2 million students that have gone through this fiscal year alone in 195 different countries. So it's fairly large, but you may be asking yourself, like, where is this academy? I haven't seen one, but you probably have. because it's in your local high school, or it's in the local community college or the university, embedded in what they do. It could be government ministries. It's been in prisons. I mean, when you talk about impact, it has been such an amazing program. Nonprofit organizations all are choosing to support that next generation with the curriculum. And so in terms of it being global, it's actually global. You can see here all around the world, with a lot of them being in other countries. We have a large presence in the US as well, but there is one near you, and if there isn't, that's meant for you to probably start something in that area, right? Start something and make a difference. But right now, we have about almost 30,000 instructors globally, but guess what? They're getting tired, right, Scott?
I think they're looking at me.
Right, Rick? So
That's why I'm here.
We have 2,300 instructors with 20 plus years of experience. That's a lot of time invested, a lot of wisdom being dispensed. And 400 of them have over 25 years of experience, and there's some of them sitting right here. But we need to continue to innovate, continue to carry on that legacy. And when you think about it, that's what we're going to talk about. When you think about, like, so what are you teaching in a networking academy? It started out with networking because that's the fundamentals, but then added on, everything that you need to be relevant, because technology is dynamic, right? And so you continue adding in programming, cybersecurity, entrepreneurship, because we want someone who's well-rounded, programmability, and we're even into, of course, we're into AI. So everything that the student needs, that the instructor needs, we're empowering them to do that. And that's the way Cisco is giving back. And so you can see, here's our portfolio. We can talk way more about that. There's about 57 courses on NetiCAD.com, self-paced and instructor-led, depending on what the local academy needs. So what that community needs is what we're trying to serve up. 18 different languages. We are meeting people where they are, and we're talking about 19 plus certification aligned courses, and that's industry aligned certification course. So we will partner with other parties to do that. And more importantly, we don't want to just deal with just the technical skills. It is really changing what they learn, how they think. And that's where you come in, because you've been there, done that. These guys have been there, done that. And we want to bring that back, right? Because I asked the CCIE today, like, what's one thing you would not want somebody coming in new to do? He said, make sure they add trunk to their VLAN configuration, don't bring down the house. Fair enough. So that's something that you can take back to them. So I can sit here and talk all day long about Cisco Networking Academy, and you can come and visit me at the booth over there, and I'll tell you more. But we want to hear from these guys who are actually doing it right now. So I want to ask them a few questions, put them on the spot. So Patrick, right? You've been in the industry. You've seen a lot of change. How'd you get involved with Networking Academy? What keeps you motivated with going?
Like you said, it was 20 some odd years ago. So I was teaching at a high school in Ottawa, Canada, teaching in French, and back then it was just computer science and maybe some Adobe Flash or stuff like that. And Cisco came knocking at the door, and they were like, would you like to offer this new networking program? First question I asked is it available in French? And they said, yes, we've just had it translated in French-Canadian. Fantastic. And so we started offering it. I did not know anything about networking. So before being able to teach any of this, they sent me on teacher training. A couple of weeks, half of CCNA, another couple of weeks, the other half of CCNA, and then very quickly got thrown into the deep end. And I'm so happy that here today with us in the back is one of my first students from that school. Went through the fun of having to deal with me learning what networking was and then transmitting my foundational knowledge to them. And so he went through that and then went on to the college, the community college nearby, where they were offering more than just the CCNA, also the CCNP and all that. Okay. So it literally, and then I keep saying this to people, and it sounds really really cheesy, but it changed my life. It opened the door for me to be able to go teach at a community college, to work with learning partners, and now to be working for Cisco directly as well. So huge impact on me, but I know the huge impact it has on students who then go on in industry. As we were talking with a couple of CCIEs yesterday, right? And they were like, do you have a NetiCAD origin story? They all had a Networking Academy origin story. And so it really kind of, it's touching, right, to hear that kind of story for folks.
Oh, thank you. And nice to see an actual student, right, to come through. So there's probably a lot more that are coming through. But there's a lot of change that happens. So, you know, Hank, I know you've seen a lot of change, and sorry about that. And not, you know what I mean. But a lot of change in technology, not in age, in technology. So with that change, like, how do you see NetiCAD helping to remain relevant? And how do you see some of these engineers or some of these IT professionals, you know, kind of giving back to support that?
No, yeah, absolutely. And it's okay to make fun of the age. I did it first in my session a little while ago about the gray and the beard, and it really has been interesting watching networking and the network academies change as well. I got my first start with Network Academy was actually as a student myself. I was trying to figure out how to do a career change that went through. I had free time in the mornings for my job, so I started taking community college classes. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I'd stumbled into a Cisco Networking Academy, and I learned the fundamentals of networking and a bunch of other pieces that were there. And then that eventually brought me into Cisco, right? Long path, lots of steps along the way, but it brought me here. And I started working with DevNet team on the transition to network automation. And we started putting material together that was there. And it wasn't long before the Network Academy folks reached out to say, hey, we need to bring some of this automation stuff into the NetiCAD courses. And so we worked together to assemble some of the initial train the trainer sessions on programmability back in the day when some of the APIC EM stuff would go through, and we'd teach the fundamentals of APIs and controllers, and then eventually Python classes that went in. Because NetiCAD has evolved as it goes through, and I took a bit of a step back, wasn't paying as close attention for a while, and then recently kind of jumped back in, and I was just in awe by how much material and courses, and how much of it isn't necessarily directly tied to networking skills. It's tied to the IT, the capability skills the students need to be successful in their roles that are in that space. And it's amazing to watch what's going on. This advent of artificial intelligence has been the most amazing one for me. It's kind of coming at us so quick. And myself, like going back to the well, trying to learn some new things, looking for where to go after, and I couldn't believe it. One of the best courses, there's so much material on AI you can find these days, but one of the best courses that was able to kind of distill it down in a fun, easily to consume way was, I found it on Network Academy. It was the Introduction to Modern AI course by Eddie Hsu. He's on our team now. I mean, I was at like 3 videos in, and I'm pinging him on WebEx being like, man, you did such a great job on this, and it came like out of nowhere and so timely because we have to maintain the changes and evolve that's there. So it's AI now, it's been automation, cybersecurity, IoT is a huge topic, and it's one of the areas that's so important. And kind of to the meat of today's session is the instructors are expected to be able to consume this stuff themselves so that they can then help the students relay that information. And we're desperate for really passionate people to go in and help those students kind of understand it. And that was kind of my full circle for it, is I took what I learned from NetiCAD, my passion for teaching and wanting to give back, and I found one of those network academies in my backyard, 10 minutes from my house. And I called the dean of technology and I said, I want to help teach. And they walked me through the process that Patrick went through. It wasn't 29 years ago for me, but it was just a couple of years. But they helped me, right? Everything necessary, and put me into a classroom.
Not that old.
Put me into a classroom with students in my backyard to help them see the joy of watching those packets go through. And I got to teach some of the automation content that I also helped influence to those teachers. So it's a fantastic program.
Oh, thank you so much, Hank. That's very real. When you talk about the breadth of knowledge that someone needs to know, I know you're experiencing that, right? You're constantly going through the technology changes. But there's something that you have, right? You tripped up over something. Why not go ahead and teach that, bring that to the classroom, even if it's for one day, or even if it's for, you want to go in and demo something for a week. That's fine too. Hank said it was 10 minutes from his house. You will be surprised when I said we have students in 195 different countries, but that doesn't mean that there's way more. There's 12,000, almost 12,000 academies around the globe. So there is probably one near you, but again, like I said, if there isn't, then that is something that you can actually bring to the table. But I want to get to the fact that, we're talking about different students. Now, I know back in the day, I had a podiatrist and a fireman in the same class that was in my CCNA class. People are trying to pivot, and I see Constance back there shaking her head. The Networking Academy is not just about that little high schooler that doesn't want to do anything. You have people, real people, that are actually trying to make that next jump, right? Whether it's that plumber, or in my case, it was actually some telecom people, some old Sprint people that needed to, I'm no shade of Sprint, but some telecom people that needed to pivot. And so they actually came to our class and changed careers to keep pace. But there's a lot of maybe zero to hero stories. We heard about some CCIEs, but not to, Rick, I'm sure. Not a zero. You're totally a hero. but Rick, in all your experience, what is it like to really, what's one of the success stories that you've had with one of your students that you can share?
There's the zero to hero. A lot of, to me, a success story is when a student finds their passion. Because, in the classroom, that they can see I found mine in teaching this. I worked in the industry for many years before I got into the high-paying world of public education. Still waiting for our school to go public, get that stock option. But, and that was back in the mid-90s. And I started, then Cisco contacted us in 1997 about some new concept of the Cisco Networking Academy. I jumped into it because I'd been doing it in industry. But students see that this is my passion, that the teaching. I never look back. I joke about the high-paying world, but it's, I think the zero to hero for me is where I see students that are learning this stuff. And a lot of it's the content, that a lot of them have been involved with. I've been fortunate to be involved in a little bit. And find their passion, that this is what they want to do. I teach both at a community college and at a university. And so I have all ranges of students, all types of students. And to be honest, even if their passion is something else, that's still a success. But to see those students that they start working with this and doing it and learning the networking, and they say, I found something I really love doing. This is fun for me. This is something I actually enjoy learning about. And just everything that's happening in this industry. Right now, there's no better time for students to be getting into this industry. As far as instructors, whatever, anybody that's listening to this can give back. If you want to teach a class part-time or connect with one of your local schools, see if you could, if you're working in the industry, can you mentor some students, give them a tour of what you're doing at work, or a virtual tour, show them. You're not going to find a more enthusiastic, energetic set of students. And so just passing that passion from yourselves onto those students, I've been teaching this now. I've been teaching for over 30 years. I'm the older one up here. But NetiCAD for 27 years, and even the first day of the introduction to networking class, I'm as passionate about what I talk about as I was, 30-something years ago. So passion.
Passion. Okay. Nice. So, given that, I can see there's some very eager faces out there just ready to go, but I also see some kind of like, I don't know about this. They may be on the fence, right? So knowing that we have this audience out here, what's probably the $1 million question? I'll ask each of you, same thing. What's the one thing you would say to someone who's on the fence, right? That what would you tell them to think about, or to get them over?
Yeah, don't hesitate. That's it. I would say the school that you'll contact, the college or the high school or the university, they'll help you. They'll mentor. They'll get you in the program. They'll explain the process, how the platform works. So don't hesitate because of some. You're not too sure how that's all gonna pan out. They're gonna be there to help you, train you in terms of how that works for the platform, and then you'll be able to just jump in and start sharing, like Rick was saying, your passion, I think.
Yeah, thank you for that, Patrick. How about you, Rick?
Yeah, I agree. Just get started, and believe me, you have a lot more to offer than you may think. You've got an incredible. Everybody brings their own background and experience. Students are just soaking this up. They want to hear from you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult thing, and it can be scary to get in front of a group of students up at the front that are looking at you, because I imagine most of us remember being students and how we treated our teachers. But the one I'll say is don't let that stop you. Like, don't be afraid that's in there. Most of the time, the students that are in a Network Academy class are there because they want to be there. They want to learn. They've got a passion for this, and they're just looking for someone to help them, guide them, and show them the path that they can get onto. And there is nothing quite like watching somebody who has no idea how networking works, like get that first link light up and watch that first ping packet come through. I mean, it's just joyful when they go in and they send that message out and it goes in, and the fear just melts away when you make that connection that's out there. And it's not that different from mentoring someone at your organization, or if you're at a partner and helping those up and coming folks. It just gives you an opportunity to see kind of the raw interest as it's blossoming that's out there. So don't let fear stop you from going in, right? Just jump into it, because you can get a lot out of it. I've been making networks work for a really long time, and the first time I was in a classroom with some students going through and teaching them how the console cable works and plugging it into a router, and I reinvigorated my own passion for what it is we do and kind of the joy that's in that space. So don't be afraid, right? Give it a go. You could go in and shadow with an existing instructor at an academy just to kind of see what it's like, right? If you want to kind of slow roll into it, but go for it, man. There's nothing quite as rewarding as watching that next generation kind of dive into it.
Yeah, wow. Thank you guys so much. I mean, that was insightful and just so loving in terms of their passion for it, and the same for you. So when you think about it, George Ward, one classroom, global movement. The question is, what will you do? What can you do? What legacy are you leaving behind? So we're asking you to join us, right? And as they said, we're focusing on trying to get more people, more IT professionals to come back and teach, but there's many things that you can do. And we're trying to be that connection point to you and that local academy. Now, please note that we are not responsible for hiring you. Cisco is not paying. That will be between you and whatever the local needs are and whatever the entity is. But as they said, there's so many different ways you can give back, and so many different ways that you can just ignite that passion in somebody else. So you never know, what change you're going to make. So we're asking you to go ahead, and we can't give you all the details right now. So we will have a couple of webinar sessions based on whatever you would have interest in. So if you go ahead and click on that QR code, even if you're looking for an intern, because they need the hands-on experience. They need to go ahead and do that debug all on your network, right? While you're not even looking. But yeah, we're not going to do that. But go ahead and click on that QR code, and they won't do that, I promise you. No one in network, they already know not to do that part. Okay?
Yeah.
And we will be around to answer any
curriculum.
questions that you have. in the WebEx app as well. In that session, if you have any questions, we can answer those right away. But make sure you complete your survey, get those points, and go ahead and continue. So there's a lot of, like I said, if you need any more questions answered about Cisco Networking Academy, Cisco U, learning credits, all of that great stuff right behind this wall. And we'd love to hear from you. So thank you so much.